Violent crime in Tijuana has reached record levels.
Gang violence that rages across Cape Town's poorer neighborhoods.
In a world that celebrates the marvels of urban life, not all cities are paradises of safety and well-being. Some cities, known for their hazardous conditions, become notorious for high crime rates, instability, and various other risk factors. This video provides an unfiltered look at 15 cities that have gained the unfortunate distinction of being the most dangerous in the world. Number 1. Caracas, Venezuela. Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, has gained international notoriety for its alarming crime rates, particularly related to violent crimes such as murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery. Situated amidst mountain ranges, the city's picturesque scenery stands in stark contrast to the grim realities its citizens face daily. In recent years, Venezuela's economic collapse, characterized by hyperinflation, food shortages, and a crumbling healthcare system, has exacerbated the city's dangerous conditions. As poverty escalates, so does crime, making it a vicious cycle that the government seems unable to break. One of the primary contributors to Caracas's hazardous environment is the widespread presence of gangs and paramilitary groups. These organizations often serve as de facto rulers in many parts of the city, exerting their influence through intimidation and violence. Law enforcement agencies appear either powerless to curb this reign of terror or are allegedly complicit in these operations, which further erodes public trust in institutions that are supposed to protect them. Kidnapping for ransom is a pervasive problem, with criminals targeting not just the wealthy, but increasingly ordinary citizens, knowing that their families will go to desperate lengths to secure their release. Such incidents have created a palpable sense of fear and insecurity in the population, to the extent that people alter their daily routines and limit their movements to reduce the risk of becoming victims. Violence and crime have become so endemic in Caracas that they have infiltrated virtually all aspects of life. Schooling is interrupted as teachers and students face threats, businesses shutter their doors due to incessant looting, and hospitals are overwhelmed, not just by the sheer volume of victims, but also by the danger that lurks within their own walls. Medical professionals in Caracas often report cases where armed gangs enter medical facilities to finish off victims who survived initial attacks. Unfortunate social dynamics further contribute to the city's woes. Social inequality is rampant, with stark divides between the wealthy, who often live in fortified enclaves with private security, and the impoverished masses, who bear the brunt of the city's crime problem. Caracas serves as a disheartening example of how socioeconomic and political instability can fuel a spiraling descent into chaos, making it one of the most dangerous cities in the world. Number 2. Cape Town, South Africa. Cape Town, with its stunning landscapes and vibrant culture, is often considered one of South Africa's crown jewels. However, beneath its aesthetic allure lies a city grappling with a multifaceted crime problem. The city's contrasting worlds of opulence and extreme poverty coexist in uneasy tension, manifesting in high rates of violent crime, including murder and armed robbery. Gang violence is especially rampant in the Cape Flats area, a sprawling low-income region burdened with high unemployment rates and a lack of social services. The area has become a breeding ground for gang activity, drug trafficking, and other criminal enterprises. Local police forces are often overwhelmed by the scale and complexity of the issues they face, exacerbated by corruption within their ranks and a lack of sufficient resources. Notably, the effects of apartheid still linger, contributing to the severe social and economic inequalities evident in the city today. These disparities have not only fanned the flames of crime, but also heightened racial tensions, creating an environment where violence can escalate quickly. Despite various government initiatives aimed at improving social cohesion and economic opportunities for marginalized communities, progress has been sluggish, leading to disillusionment among residents. Tourists, often unaware of the darker aspects of Cape Town, can find themselves at risk, particularly if they stray from well-policed areas. The city has taken steps to protect tourists by increasing police presence in popular destinations, but petty crimes like pickpocketing and more serious crimes like mugging and assault remain persistent problems. The challenges Cape Town faces are complex, deeply rooted in historical injustices and modern-day socio-economic struggles. The crime rates reflect these complicated dynamics, making it a city of contrasts, a place of immense beauty but also significant danger. Number 3. Acapulco, Mexico. Once a glamorous destination immortalized in Elvis Presley movies, Acapulco has experienced a steep decline from its heyday as a paradise for tourists. Situated on Mexico's Pacific coast, the city has become an epicenter for drug-related violence and crime. The once idyllic beaches and luxury resorts are now marred by frequent incidences of murder, kidnapping, and extortion. Acapulco has been caught in the crossfire of warring drug cartels competing for control over lucrative trafficking routes. As these organizations vie for dominance, they employ ruthless tactics that put ordinary citizens and tourists alike at risk. Beheadings, public shootouts, and brazen acts of violence have become increasingly commonplace, eroding the fabric of what was once a peaceful and thriving community. Despite its natural beauty and cultural richness, Acapulco's decline into a hotbed of criminal activity serves as a cautionary tale. It demonstrates the consequences of a society where law and order have broken down, and where the line between criminals and those tasked with preventing crime has been disturbingly blurred. Number 4. San Pedro Sula, Honduras. San Pedro Sula, the industrial hub of Honduras, has a grim reputation as one of the world's most violent cities. Its notoriety largely stems from the astronomical homicide rates driven by gang violence, drug trafficking, and extreme poverty. The city is a significant point in the drug trafficking route to the United States, making it a battleground for criminal organizations such as MS-13 and Barrio 18, two of the most ruthless gangs in the Western Hemisphere. A particularly troubling aspect is the impact of violence on the city's youth. Many children drop out of school due to the threat of gang recruitment or violence, opting for the uncertain journey to seek asylum in safer countries. This exodus further depletes the city of its future, leaving behind a void filled by criminal enterprises. While its tropical climate and natural beauty could make San Pedro Sula a desirable location, the reign of violence and corruption has eclipsed its potential. The city stands as a testament to the devastating effects of unchecked crime, a condition aggravated by systemic failures and social inequalities. Number 5. Tijuana, Mexico. Tijuana, situated just across the border from San Diego, California, serves as a gateway between Mexico and the United States. Despite its strategic location and cultural significance, the city is marred by elevated levels of crime and violence, primarily related to drug trafficking and organized criminal activities. Tijuana is a hotspot for drug cartels vying for control over valuable smuggling routes into the United States. The resultant turf wars have led to escalating levels of violence, with bystanders often caught in the crossfire. The severity of the situation is such that entire neighborhoods are considered no-go zones due to the influence of organized crime. Compounding the problem is the influx of migrants waiting for a chance to cross into the United States. This vulnerable population often becomes a target for criminal elements engaged in human trafficking, extortion, and other forms of exploitation. The shelters meant to offer respite frequently become hubs of criminal activity, making safety a constant concern for those stuck in limbo. Despite its status as a bustling commercial and cultural hub, Tijuana's prevailing atmosphere of violence and insecurity tarnishes its reputation. For many, the city represents the human cost of geopolitical agendas, corrupt institutions, and failed anti-crime strategies. The result is a landscape where danger is an ever-present reality, shadowing both locals and visitors alike. Number 6. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Rio de Janeiro, known for its captivating landscapes, iconic landmarks like Christ the Redeemer, and the lively spirit of carnival, also has a less glamorous reputation as a city fraught with danger. The disparity between its touristic allure and the stark realities of daily life is striking. High crime rates, particularly in the form of armed robbery, assault, and drug-related violence, make certain areas of the city perilous for both residents and tourists. Rio also faces significant corruption within its political system and police force, complicating efforts to implement effective crime-fighting measures. Public protests against police brutality and corruption are frequent, reflecting the population's frustration with the lack of effective governance. Despite the beauty that attracts millions of tourists each year, Rio de Janeiro struggles with a grim underbelly of crime and social inequality. While the city remains a significant cultural and economic center, its persistently high levels of violence cast a long shadow over its many attractions, keeping it on the video of the world's most dangerous cities. Number 7. Baghdad, Iraq. Baghdad, the capital of Iraq, has been a focal point of geopolitical strife, internal conflict, and terrorism for decades. The aftermath of the Iraq War, coupled with sectarian tensions and the rise of extremist groups like ISIS, has left the city in a perpetual state of insecurity. Kidnappings, bombings, and armed assaults are frequent, and civilians bear the brunt of this sustained violence. The city has seen some improvement in security conditions in recent years, particularly with the decline of ISIS. However, the underlying issues of sectarian tension, political corruption, and economic instability remain. Militias and armed groups still operate with relative impunity, and government forces are often unable to provide adequate protection. Moreover, political protests and demonstrations can turn violent quickly, owing to the heavy-handed approach of the security forces and the involvement of armed groups. Journalists and activists face threats and are often targeted, creating a stifling environment for free speech and public discourse. Baghdad's ongoing challenges are not just the result of current events, but are deeply rooted in a turbulent history of dictatorship, foreign invasion, and sectarian strife. The people of Baghdad have shown remarkable resilience in the face of these ongoing challenges, but the city remains a high-risk environment fraught with a variety of hazards. As it stands, Baghdad continues to be one of the most dangerous cities in the world, where the promise of stability remains elusive. Number 8. Ciudad Juárez, Mexico. Ciudad Juárez, situated just across the border from El Paso, Texas, has a dark reputation as one of the most violent cities in Mexico. The city has been a battleground for drug cartels fighting for control of lucrative smuggling routes into the United States. This competition has led to a surge in homicides, kidnappings, and other forms of violent crime that have deeply scarred the community. The violence is not limited to members of criminal organizations. Ordinary citizens, including women and children, have been victims of random acts of violence, including the particularly heinous phenomenon known as femicide, the killing of women because of their gender. Ciudad Juárez gained international attention for this horrifying trend in the late 1990s and early 2000s, although it remains an ongoing issue today. Even as the city attempts to rebuild its image by investing in social programs and infrastructure, the lingering specter of violence undermines these efforts. Businesses operate under the threat of extortion, and residents live with the daily fear of being caught in the crossfire of gang-related conflicts. While its proximity to the U.S. makes Ciudad Juárez a key economic and transportation hub, the high levels of crime and insecurity make it a perilous place for residents and visitors alike. Despite some efforts to bring stability and reform, the city remains a high-risk environment, emblematic of broader challenges facing Mexico. Number 9. Mogadishu, Somalia. Mogadishu, the capital city of Somalia, has been the epicenter of the country's decades-long struggle with civil war, lawlessness, and terrorism. Once known as the White Pearl of the Indian Ocean, Mogadishu is now more commonly associated with instability and violence. Al-Shabaab, an extremist group with ties to Al-Qaeda, is a constant threat, carrying out bombings, assassinations, and other attacks with alarming regularity. The absence of effective governance and a reliable police force has left a vacuum often filled by armed groups and warlords. Even the presence of African Union peacekeeping troops has done little to instill a sense of security among residents. Security checkpoints litter the city, but they often serve as magnets for terrorist attacks rather than deterrents. Kidnappings for ransom are another critical issue, targeting both locals and foreigners. Basic services like healthcare and education are severely compromised. Many schools and hospitals have been abandoned or turned into bases by various armed groups, leaving the population highly vulnerable. Economic opportunities are scarce, exacerbating the cycle of poverty and violence that has defined the city for years. Mogadishu is a city where the norms of daily life are dictated by the immediate need for survival. The lingering chaos, coupled with the constant threat of terrorist activity, places it among the most dangerous cities in the world. Yet despite these harrowing conditions, the resilient spirit of its residents endures, as many strive for a semblance of normality amid the ongoing conflict. Number 10. Karachi, Pakistan. Karachi, Pakistan's largest city and economic hub, presents a contradictory picture of modernization and violence. Despite being home to various industries, financial institutions, and a bustling port, the city is plagued by a high rate of violent crime, including kidnappings, terrorist attacks, and sectarian violence. Ethnic and political tensions further exacerbate the situation, often leading to deadly clashes and public unrest. One of the major contributing factors to Karachi's instability is the multiplicity of armed groups operating within the city. Ranging from political parties' militant wings to ethno-nationalist factions and religious extremists, these groups contribute to a fractured social landscape. Their often conflicting interests result in territorial disputes, extortion rackets, and targeted killings, putting ordinary citizens at risk. Additionally, Karachi suffers from an acute civic crisis, with dilapidated infrastructure, traffic chaos, and garbage accumulation adding to the overall sense of decay and neglect. These challenges, while not directly violent, create an environment in which criminal activities can thrive, further perpetuating the cycle of violence and insecurity. Despite its status as the backbone of Pakistan's economy, Karachi is a city under siege from multiple fronts. Its potential as a cosmopolitan megacity is consistently undermined by a volatile mix of political, ethnic, and religious conflicts that make it one of the world's most dangerous cities to live in. Number 11. Kabul, Afghanistan. Kabul, Afghanistan's capital, has been ground zero for conflict and upheaval for more than 4 decades, involving both internal strife and foreign intervention. The consequences of ongoing war have made Kabul a hazardous place, characterized by suicide bombings, rocket attacks, and armed assaults. The Taliban and other extremist groups maintain an active presence, targeting both Afghan civilians and international entities. Security is a constant concern in Kabul, where even fortified areas are not immune to attacks. Diplomatic zones and military compounds, despite stringent security measures, have been successfully infiltrated by militants on multiple occasions. Roadblocks and security checks create daily inconveniences for residents, but offer little in the way of genuine safety. Kabul serves as a painful reminder of what sustained conflict can do to a city. Though resilient in many ways, its residents are subjected to a level of instability that severely restricts their quality of life. As long as the cycles of violence and corruption continue to spin, Kabul will remain one of the most perilous places in the world, where survival often takes precedence over living. Number 12. New Orleans, USA. New Orleans, often affectionately known as the Big Easy, is famous for its rich cultural history, vibrant music scene, and culinary delights. However, this lively city also grapples with high levels of violent crime, making it an anomaly among American cities. Its unique combination of tourism, poverty, and crime presents a complex narrative that cannot be easily categorized.
We're following the death of an NOPD officer with a large police presence this morning in Gentilly.
Violent crime rates in New Orleans have consistently been higher than the national average, earning the city a place on the video of America's most dangerous cities. The primary drivers of this violence include drug trafficking, gang activity, and a high rate of poverty. The city's 9th Ward and Central City neighborhoods, in particular, are considered crime hotspots where shootings and homicides occur more frequently. Compounding the issue is the city's struggle with policing. The New Orleans Police Department has faced numerous challenges, including understaffing, low morale, and a history marred by corruption and misconduct. Federal intervention has aimed to reform the police force, but skepticism remains about its overall effectiveness in reducing crime. New Orleans is not just a city of Mardi Gras parades and jazz festivals, it is also a city battling significant crime and social inequality. Despite its colorful facades and musical streets, its high crime rates point to systemic issues that require urgent attention. While community programs and police reforms have shown some promise, the road to transforming New Orleans into a safer city is long and fraught with challenges. Thus, the city remains a study in contrasts, a place where joy and danger coexist in close quarters, making it one of the most enigmatic and perilous cities in the United States. Number 13. Detroit, USA. Detroit, known as the Motor City for its foundational role in the American automotive industry, has faced numerous challenges over the past few decades that have led it to be frequently cited as one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. Deindustrialization, economic decline, and population loss have all played a role in fostering an environment where crime has flourished. Although Detroit is undergoing a sort of renaissance with new investments and a growing art scene, the crime rate continues to be a major issue for the city. In the latter half of the 20th century, Detroit began to experience significant economic decline, particularly as the American automotive industry struggled. Factories closed, jobs disappeared, and social services were cut, leading to widespread poverty. The city filed for bankruptcy in 2013, the largest municipal bankruptcy filing in U.S. history by debt amount. This economic distress is closely tied to the city's high crime rate, including violent crimes such as murder, assault, and robbery. The geographic distribution of crime in Detroit is far from even, with certain neighborhoods like Midtown experiencing a revitalization and relative safety, while others, like certain parts of the East and West Sides, continue to grapple with extreme poverty and violence. However, crime is not limited to these areas and can spill over into other parts of the city, sometimes affecting unsuspecting visitors or those passing through. In recent years, Detroit has been experiencing a form of revival. New businesses are opening, and there is a concerted effort to revitalize the downtown area. Art installations and community gardens are transforming once abandoned spaces, and there is a sense of optimism among some sectors of the population. Yet this rebirth is a tale of two cities, benefiting some while leaving others behind. Detroit embodies the American struggle with economic decline, racial inequality, and urban decay, all of which contribute to its high crime rates. While the city's emerging turnaround narrative is a testament to the resilience of its people, it remains a place of significant challenges where potential and peril coexist in a complex tapestry. The high crime rate serves as a constant reminder of the systemic issues that need to be addressed for Detroit to fully realize its resurgence as a great American city. Number 14. St. Louis, USA. St. Louis, Missouri is a city of contrasts, marked by its rich cultural history and iconic landmarks like the Gateway Arch, yet also burdened by a disturbingly high rate of violent crime. It is a city that frequently tops the videos of America's most dangerous places, often marked by alarming rates of homicide, robbery, and assault. Although the city is home to many universities, corporate headquarters, and cultural institutions, the reality of daily life in some neighborhoods is shaped by a persistent threat of violence. St. Louis has a complex racial history that continues to influence life in the city today. It is deeply segregated, with predominantly white neighborhoods to the south and predominantly black neighborhoods to the north. This segregation correlates with disparities in education, employment, and, critically, crime rates. The north side of the city is particularly afflicted with issues of poverty and violence, creating an environment where crime is both a result and a perpetuator of social instability. One cannot discuss crime in St. Louis without mentioning the role of drugs, particularly the drug trade that operates openly in some areas. The city is a significant market for illicit substances, with conflicts over drug territory often resulting in violence. While the opioid crisis has hit many American cities hard, in St. Louis it compounds an already fraught situation, serving as both a cause and an effect of the broader crime issue. While the high crime rate is a troubling reality for St. Louis, the city is not without hope or potential. Civic initiatives, grassroots organizations, and individual citizens work tirelessly to turn the tide and rejuvenate their communities. Yet, these efforts often go under-recognized in the broader narrative of St. Louis as a dangerous city. To truly improve, St. Louis needs systemic change, a shift in public policy focus, and the dissolution of long-standing racial and socioeconomic barriers that divide the city. Despite its beauty, culture, and historical significance, St. Louis remains a city where opportunity and danger are inextricably linked, creating a complex, often troubling environment for its residents. The crime issue hangs like a cloud over the city, calling into question its future and laying down a challenge that must be met for St. Louis to move forward. Number 15. Baltimore, USA. Baltimore, Maryland, known for its picturesque inner harbor, historic neighborhoods, and vibrant arts scene, stands as another American city contending with a persistent problem of violent crime. Situated in the mid-Atlantic region, Baltimore is a city steeped in history and cultural significance, but it has also gained notoriety for its crime rates, which consistently rank among the highest in the nation. The city grapples with a complex set of challenges that contribute to its criminal activity, from systemic poverty to drug addiction. Perhaps the most glaring issue in Baltimore is the high rate of homicides. Neighborhoods like Sandtown, Winchester, and Greenmount West have become synonymous with gun violence, altering the fabric of communities and creating a culture of fear. These neighborhoods, among the most economically disadvantaged in the city, serve as epicenters for a variety of crimes, including drug trafficking and gang-related violence. The prevalence of drugs, particularly opioids and cocaine, intensifies the crime situation. Baltimore has been described as a city in the throes of an opioid crisis, with overdose rates significantly higher than the national average. Drug-related disputes often escalate into violent confrontations, contributing to the city's escalating crime rates. Law enforcement agencies have long struggled to curb the city's illegal drug trade, hampered by both logistical challenges and strained relations with the community. Despite the city's struggles with crime, there are numerous local initiatives and non-profit organizations dedicated to community building, youth engagement, and social welfare. Baltimore, therefore, presents a complex portrait of American urban life, where historical legacy, cultural richness, and significant challenges coexist. The city's high crime rate is not just a law enforcement issue, but a societal one, deeply entangled with long-standing social, economic, and racial complexities that defy easy solutions.